All right, so picking back up with managing inventory, one thing that you have to think about is how much should you produce of each product. So one thing that you need to think about is the sales forecast. And how are you going to know what the sales forecast is? Well, the only way to know what the sales forecast is to purchase the market research. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. But for the first quarter, you're not going to have your sales forecast. So you're going to have to look at the manual and kind of judge what you think you might produce. So it also depends whether you want your emphasis to be on the base products or the premium products. Two other things to think about. If you don't make enough, then the factory will make up for any shortfall with overtime, but that's going to cost you an extra $40 a unit. If you produce too much, then you have to store your inventory, and that's going to cost you $25 a unit. And then the next quarter, you want to keep in mind how much you have in storage and factor that into how much you're going to produce, because you'll use what you have in storage in addition to what you're producing. So again, key decision, I would write this down. How much do you request from the factory? So with your price strategy in terms of skim or penetrate, basically you're going to have to decide, what do you want your pricing to be? So it will give you, well, we saw back a little bit ago, the cost. Okay, so in your product offerings, your cost is, the base is $3,000, the premium is $4,000. So then the question is, how are you going to price your products for each one? So not only do I need to decide if I'm going to focus more on one product than the other, or am I going to focus on them equally? I've got to decide how I'm going to price those. And that should be a function of what your overall strategy is. And do both products behave similarly when they're priced as a premium or as penetration? So this again is really where you need to make your best educated guess for Q1. And then once you get into Q2 and you have, I've got my information from Q1, I have my results, and I have my market research, then I can really start making a strategy going into Q2. So, market research. You have to look, and you'll have to look again in the manual. I know I've mentioned it a gazillion times, but that's going to be your best friend. Look in the manual at what each market research study covers and which do you think would be the most useful. Some of them are redundant, so look carefully at them and see which ones have overlap and which one would be better to purchase. Other things to think about: how often should you buy? So I'll tell you, the first time I ever did this simulation, I just bought everything without looking at them. And that's a mistake because you do waste some money because there are some redundancies. But if it were me, I would probably look at which ones are redundant, eliminate those, and for the first go round, I might purchase all the rest and then judge how useful are they to me. So again, key consideration, are conditions stable? Are they changing? Metrics that are available, we're going to use 2 of these for your grade. Profit, so your cumulative profit across all periods, and what your trajectory is relative to other firms in the industry, so other groups that are in your industry, and then market share. We're not going to use net promoter score or company reputation. So how are you graded? Individual grade is 5%, your group grade is 15%, so 20% of your overall course grade. So let's break that down further. Your individual grade is based on you making a decision before your group meets to make the group decision. So it's you working on your own, coming up with what you think the decision should be, so that then your group can get together and everyone can contribute into the overall decision. So you can change your decision individually or as a group up until I run the simulation. So one job of the leader is to know, like, if people are coming into your meeting having not made their decision, and I can see, and I believe the leader can see who has made their decision. If you're continually doing that, then the leader's going to report it to me, and that's going to reduce your individual grade. Also, if you're not making your individual decision, then you don't get points for that. And so the points are just how many times did you make your individual decision? And did you come to your meeting prepared? And so whatever the cumulative of that is, 7 out of 8, 8 out of 8, whatever it may be, based on quarters, then that will be your individual grade. So who are your groups? So these are your groups. Mostly I just did this randomly. Leader, I absolutely just, whoever was the first name, which was kind of alphabetical, then I just made them the leader. If you don't want to be the leader, you absolutely do not have to be. Just find someone else in your group that wants to be the leader. If the leader is not reliable or responsible and your group wants to vote in another leader, that's fine too. At any point in time, I have the ability to change who the leader is. And the leader is going to be the one that ultimately submits your team's decision. So you do want it to be someone responsible, reliable. So again, I can change this at any point in time should you run into an issue. Also, you're going to see here 2 different industries. So you are competing in 2 different industries just because it works better when there are only about 3 or 4 groups per industry. So I've divided you into 2 industries. And you'll have a competition within each industry. So how is grading and competition work? Well, the metrics we're going to use are profit and market share. So whatever your individual group position is each quarter, that determines how many profit share points and how many market share points you get. So if you're in industry 1, then this would be the breakdown for first, second, and third and fourth place get the same amount of points. If you're in industry 2 and there's only 3, first, second, third. So regardless of what industry you're in, it doesn't penalize you for having a 4th group or being the 4th group. or coming in fourth. How does the overall grading work? So how that will work is the average of quarters 2 through 8 for profit points and market share points. So here's the simulation class grade breakdown. So essentially, if you came in third or fourth the entire time, you never, got above that, then that would be a 75. Most grades fall between the 80 and 90 with groups that are trying and have a strategy. So what did that kind of look like? This is a snapshot of 4 teams from last semester. So you can kind of see how these broke down when they came in first, second, third for both. So also, you may come in first for profit. You could come in last for market share. So those are 2 things you're trying to balance. And again, once you get through the first quarter, then you'll be able to see. That's why I'm not including the first quarter. The first quarter, we're just getting established. And if you come in first place, maybe it's because of your strategy, but a lot of times it's luck. And we don't really begin or able to develop a strong strategy until Q2 and 3, once we get going. So you can see how the grades kind of came out. So this group came in mostly last place every time. So what if you win your industry? The 2 first place groups will get 1.5 points added to your final grade. So pretty big, prize. So if you're sitting at an 88.5 in the class and your team wins first place, that will take you up to a 90. Or same if you're sitting at a 78.5. So incentive, not only because it's a grade overall, but to really boost your grade with first place. For Sunday and Monday. For Sunday, you need to complete the quiz by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. The quiz will be based off of primarily these slides. I'll make it based off these slides and videos, but you still need to make a decision. You do need to make a decision. I was looking at the next line, but you still need to look at the manual. Figure out your individual idea, make an individual decision. Your group needs to meet, and then your group needs to make the final decision by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, April 19th. That means by at least, sometime Sunday, you need to be signed up for the simulation. And then we've had deadlines at 11:59 p.m. on Sundays. It's going to change for the simulation because you're going to make a decision essentially every other day. So this is what the schedule looks like. So put it in your calendar and make sure that you have your decisions in. Because if I'm having to remind a group, let's say Tuesday morning, then there is going to be a deduction. First time I have to remind you, I'll give you a warning. Second time I have to remind you, I'm going to start deducting from your grade as a group. So again, make sure you have a reliable leader. And that's it.